Coming up on this edition of Able to Cook, we focus on the life of Milton S. Hershey. How sweet was his life being the CEO of Hershey Corporation? And really, this man did have a sweet life. All that and much more when Able to Cook starts right now. Welcome to this edition of Able to Cook, the one and only program that focuses on all abilities in the kitchen and out of the kitchen despite your disabilities. On today's program, we focus on the life of Milton S. Hershey. How sweet was his life? Well, we're about to find out. So let's begin. Milton Snavely Hershey, September 13th, 1857 to April through October 13th, 1945. So September 13th, 1857 to October 13th, 1945. He was an American chocolatier, businessman, and philanthropist. Milton Snavely Hershey September 13th, 1857, he was born in Derry Township, Pennsylvania, in the United States, and he passed away October 13th, 1945, at age 88 in Hershey, Pennsylvania. His resting place was Hershey Memorial Park, Hershey Cemetery, and he was known as the Chocolate King. He was also a confectioner, businessman, and philanthropist. He was known for the Hershey Company, founder of the Hershey Bar, and founder of Hershey Cemetery. And you can find his information at hersheyland.com. He was trained in the confectionery business. Hershey pioneered and he pioneered the manufacture of caramel using fresh milk. He launched the Lancaster Caramel Company, which achieved bulk exports and then sold it to start a new company supplying mass-produced milk chocolate, previously a luxury good. The first Hershey bars were sold in 1900s and proved so popular that he was able to build his own company in the town of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hershey's philanthropy extended to a boarding school, originally for local orphans, but accommodating around 2,000 students as of 2016. In World War II, the company developed a special non-melting bar of chocolate for troops serving overseas. The Hershey Company, known as Hershey's, is one of the world's largest confectionery manufacturers. Hershey returned. Hold on, let me get to. Milton Hershey was born on September 13th, 1857, to Henry and Veronica Hershey of Swiss and German descent. His family were members of the Pennsylvania Mennonite community, which is part of Amish, and he grew up Pennsylvania Dutch. He grew up speaking Pennsylvania Dutch. In April 1862, Hershey's sister, Serena Hershey, was born in Derry Township in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, and died in 1867 at age 4. Hershey was a very limited. He was very limited, limited education with no schooling beyond the fourth grade. In 1871, Milton Hershey left school and was apprenticed to a local printer named Sam Ernst, who published a German English newspaper. He soon lost his job and took up the candy trade after recommendation of family. His mother arranged a 14 his mother arranged for the 14-year-old Hershey to be apprenticed to the confectioner named Joseph Royer of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He studied under Royer for 4 years. In 1876, he moved to Philadelphia to start his confectionery business. Milton then traveled to Denver and finding work at a local confectioner to learn how making caramels using fresh milk. He then went on to New Orleans and Chicago looking for opportunities before settling in New York City. In 1883, he trained at Hyler's. He started his second business while initially successful, lasting only 3 years, closing in 1886. Hershey returned to Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1883 and started the Lancaster Caramel Company, which became a success. By the early 1890s, the Lancaster Company had become employing 1,300 workers in 2 factories. After traveling to Chicago for the World's Columbian Exposition, Hershey became interested in chocolate. He sold the Lancaster Caramel Company for $1 million to start the Hershey Chocolate Company. The Hershey Chocolate Company, let me go here. Using the proceeds from 1900 sale of the Lancaster Caramel Company, Hershey initially acquired farmland roughly 30 miles northwest of Lancaster, near his birthplace of Derry Township. He created his own formula, and the first Hershey bar was produced in 1900s. Hershey's Kisses was developed in 1907, and the Hershey bar with almonds was introduced in 1908. The factory was in the center of dairy farmland, but with Hershey's support, houses, businesses, churches, and transportation infrastructure accredited around the factory. The area around the factory eventually became known as the company town of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hershey and his wife established the Hershey Industrial School with a deed trust in 1909. In 1918, Hershey transferred the majority of his assets, including control of the company, to the Milton Hershey School Trust to benefit the industrial school. The trust fund had a majority to benefit the industrial school. The trust fund had a majority of voting voting shares in the Hershey Company, allowing it to keep control of the company. In 1951, the school was renamed the Hershey School. The Milton Hershey School Trust also has 100% control of Hershey Entertainment and Resorts Company, which owns the Hotel Hershey and Hershey Park, among other property. Hershey Park built Hershey Cemetery in Lauder Milch Road in Hershey, Pennsylvania. On July 31st, 1923, Hershey transferred the land in the cemetery for $1. In 1935, Hershey established the M.S. Hershey Foundation, a charitable foundation that provides educational and cultural opportunities for Hershey residents. The foundation supplies funding for 3 entities: the Hershey Museum and Hershey Gardens, the Hershey Theater, and the Hershey Community Archives. The founding of Penn State Milton S. Hershey Medical Center occurred in 1963 when the Board of Trust went to the Dauphin County Orphans Court with a Cyprus doctrine. Cyprus is a French phrase meaning as close as possible. It was a gift from the Milton S. Hershey School to the people of Pennsylvania, with an initial endowment of $50 million and only one restriction. The hospital had to be built in Hershey. The hospital is a teaching hospital with an annual budget exceeding the initial construction costs. In 1912, the Hersheys were booked to travel on the maiden voyage of the British liner RMS Titanic. They canceled their reservations the last minute due to business matters requiring Hershey's attention. The cancellation is often incorrectly attributed to Kitty Hershey falling ill, but at the time, she was ill for several years. Instead, they booked passage to New York on a German Hold on. Let me go back to this. Okay, sorry. Instead, she has been ill for several years. Instead, they booked passage to New York on the German luxury liner, the SS America, Emerika. The former Hershey Museum displayed a copy of the check that Milton Hershey wrote to the White Star Line as a deposit for the first-class stateroom on the Titanic. The copy is now located in the archives of the Hershey Story Museum, which replaced the original museum in 2009. Hershey Chocolate supplied the U.S. Armed Forces with chocolate bars during World War II. These bars were called Ration D bars and tropical bars. The Ration D bars were very specific requirements from the Army, and they had to weigh 1 or 2 ounces, 28 or 57 grams, to resist melting temperatures of 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. and it had um, and they had an unpleasant flavor to prevent um, the troops from developing cravings for them. After a year or two, the army was impressed enough with the durability and success of the Ration D bar to commission Hershey to make the tropical chocolate bar. The only difference between them that the chocolate bar was made to last better than the Ration D bar, and still it had to be durable. Tropical chocolate bars were not designed to melt in tropical weather. They estimated that between 1940 to 1945, over 3 billion of the Ration D and tropical chocolate bars were produced and distributed to soldiers throughout the world. In 1939, the Hershey plant was capable of producing 100% rations, um, producing, producing 100,000 ration bars by day. By the end of World War II, the entire Hershey plant was producing ration bars at a rate of 24 million a week. For the service throughout World War II, the Hershey Chocolate Company was issued 5 Army Navy E production awards for the exceeding expectations for quality and quantity. The production of the Ration D and tropical chocolate bars. The Hershey factory machine shop made some parts for tanks and machines during the war. On May 25, 1898, Hershey married Catherine Elizabeth Kitty Sweeney in between. She was born in 1871. An Irish-American Catholic from Jamestown, New York, the couple did not have any children. On March 25, 1915, Catherine died of an unknown disease. In 1919, Hershey moved Catherine's body from Philadelphia to the Hershey Cemetery. In March 1920, Hershey's mother, Fanny Hershey, died and was buried in Hershey Cemetery. In late 1930, his father's body was moved there. Hershey died of pneumonia in Hershey Hospital on October 13, 1945, at age 88. Hershey is buried in Hershey Cemetery, a cemetery which he built in Laudermilch Road, a road in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hershey's grave is located at Section Special Hershey Lot 1, Grave 1, next to his wife. The Hershey School has a bronze statue of Milton Hershey with an orphan boy wrapped around his arms. Below the statue are these words: "His deeds at his moment, his life is our inspiration." On September 13th, 1995, the United States Post Office had a 32-cent stamp for Milton Hershey, which honors him as a philanthropist, part of the Great American Series. Now, I'm going to go over quickly who Mars was. Um, okay. The Mars bar was first created in 1932 and is a chocolate bar produced by Mars Inc., consisting of caramel and nougat with milk chocolate. It was the first to be manufactured in 1932 in England by Forrest Mars Sr., mo- modeled after his father's Milky Way bar. A different Mars bar was produced in the United States with nougat and toasted almonds covered in milk chocolate and later in caramel, sold in ice cream colored packaging. This was discontinued in 2002 and, and revived in a slightly different form the following year under the same name, Snickers Almond. Um, Snickers was introduced by Mars in 1930 and named after Mars' family favorite, favorite horse. Snickers has expanded. Snickers was introduced by Mars in 1930 and named after the Mars family favorite horse. Snickers had expanded its product line to include variations such as mini dark chocolate, white chocolate ice cream bars, and several nut flavored and protein enhanced versions. Ingredients that have evolved from its original formulation to adapt changing the consumer preferences and nutritional guidelines. Despite fluctuations in bar size, the controversy around health and advertising, Snickers remained a prominent snack worldwide, sponsoring significant sporting events and introducing notable marketing campaigns. So, online, if you choose to go at wikipedia.org, I'm not going to read this chart, but there is a chart here, and it explains about Milky Way and Mars almond and the different types of chocolate and when they started. So, United States and Canada basically was Musketeers and Milky Way. Musketeers, Milky Way and Mars, Snickers almond before 2003, and so on. In 1930, the Mars Candy Factory in Chicago introduced Snickers as named after favorite horse of the Mars family. After Mars Sr. took control of his late father's company in 1960s, Snickers was available and expanded internationally. It launched in Great Britain and West Germany in 1968, followed by a number of other markets. In in um, in both Ireland, in both Britain and Ireland, the product was marketed under the name Marathon instead. Um, it was allegedly done because of the Snickers name similarity to the term Knickers. In 1990, the name in both countries changed to Snickers. To align with the global to align with the global brand, a marathon retro edition was sold exclusively to the Morrisons supermarket for 3 months. In 2019, Marathon was also an unrelated bar marketed in the 1970s in the United States. Snickers launched it in France in 1989. There are other Snickers products. Such as Snickers Mini, invented by Carlos Calle, dark chocolate, white chocolate, ice cream bars, Snickers with almonds, Snickers with hazelnuts, Snickers with pecans, Snickers with peanut butter bars, and Snickers peanut butter bars, Snickers protein, Snickers with extra caramel and white espresso, fiery and salty versions. In 2024, Mars and Gelsert, S-E-R-T, collaborated to market Snickers flavored pudding and pie mix. And this is like the last thing I'm going to read. In 1939, the ingredient list for the original bar included white sugar, sweet milk chocolate, corn syrup, peanuts, condensed milk, sugar, coconut oil, malted mixed egg whites, and salt. By 2019, the ingredients for the original bar have been changed to milk chocolate, sugar cocoa butter, skim milk, lactose, milk fat, soy lecithin, soy corn syrup, sugar palm oil, skim milk, lactose, salt, and egg whites, and some artificial flavoring. And I just want to say this, that Hershey and Mars were in competition for quite a while. And some other chocolate companies were also in competition. This puts an end to this edition of Ableton on Air. This puts an end to this edition of Able to Cook. For more information on Able to Cook and what you've seen today, you can go to www.orcamedia.net, www.orcamedia.net, and if you want to find out more information about Hershey or Mars or any food product that we've talked about on Able to Cook today, you can go to wikipedia.org. That's www.wikipedia.org. I'm Lawrence Seiler. Thank you to our sponsors. Arlene's not here today. Tune in for the next edition of Able to Cook. I'm Lawrence Seiler. See you next time.